What's up, fam? How are y'all? I'm from Texas. Yes, the great state, the greater state, some might even say. Amen. Okay, so how is there so much wisdom on this side of the room over here? Anyone from Texas? Anyone else over here? You're not from Texas if you're just raising your hand. You gotta shout it. Okay. Y'all, how do y'all do it? It's so cold. And I hear this isn't even cold. I hear this is a joke to you guys. I don't know. I I grew up in Dallas, Texas, my whole life. And 5 years ago, moved to Nashville. About 5 years ago, actually, I proposed to my girlfriend. We were in Colorado, and we got married during COVID. Any COVID? Was there going to be a lot of married people here? Never mind. Let's not bring that up. Future marriages, God in Jesus' name. And so I got married in the middle of COVID. Very vibey, Pinteresty photos. We didn't know. It snowed on the one single day that we got married. It was sunny the day before, and it was sunny the day after, and melted all the snow. But that one day it snowed, and my wife, such a trooper, she's like, well, let's still go do a wedding. We did a 10-minute wedding in the snow. I know it looks beautiful. Y'all, it was freezing. Like, it was so cold. You know those, you guys must know. Maybe some of y'all are too prideful to use it, but you know those like heat packs that you like break, and it's stacked in my outfit and her dress. Like, we're just all heated up for 10 minutes. It looks beautiful, but the reality is this is what my groomsmen were like during the wedding, and looks like we had a great time, but 10 minutes we were done. And then we bought this old home in Nashville, Tennessee. We moved to Nashville, and it's a 100-year-old house that it's like a blue old house that was right before going to a 600-acre dairy farm. And this house only had actually two families in 100 years who lived there, about 50 years each. Miss Faye, the lady that lived here before, she loved her some color. She liked color a lot. She wasn't going to be bound by the millennial gray. She liked, this is one of the rooms, a lot of wallpaper. There's a green room. There's another pink dining room. There's a blue room if you want one of those. There is a yellow kitchen that looks a little bit like a cafeteria. And about actually, so we get this house, and y'all, 2 weeks into living at this house, y'all know that song that's, man, I always forget it when I need to bring it up. It's like, the wind came, the wind came, something blew. The wind blew, the wind came, and the storm came. Okay, sorry, the storm came, the wind blew, my house is built on you. Do y'all know it? Can y'all sing it with me real quick? The storm came, wind blew, and it says, my house is built on you, right? I'm singing that song. My wife and I are singing that song in downtown Nashville, worshiping God, one of my close friends doing a conference. And I'm just going to tell y'all, I don't like that song anymore. That song scares me. That song has got a trauma response connected to it now, because I came home, legit, I'm not making this up, singing that song with our heart out, and came home to this is what happened to our house. 2 weeks in, and I'm like, 100 years, two other people lived here, and 2 weeks in, we have to have, now I guess you could say our house still stood on him, and we got the roof fixed, but it was like, man, okay, we're homeowners now, and this is what we got to deal with. And we are a part of a church plant in Nashville called Way Church. If you guys are ever in Nashville, sincerely, would love to host you guys. And it's a totally young church of a lot of young adults, a lot of college kids. Pastor Noah Herron is the pastor of the church, and I actually got recently to baptize my brother and my niece at the church. It was like a huge prayer that I've got to see answered by getting to do that. And so as we're getting into perspectives, I kind of have this question I'd like to begin with and ask you guys. I think maybe I don't have it actually. I have this question that I want to ask you guys. I don't know where it went, but I'm just going to ask y'all and then I'm going to give you guys about a minute or two to answer the question, is We're going to talk about discipleship, especially. I want to talk about discipleship. I personally think that we don't have a next-gen problem. What I really think we have is a discipleship problem. And so I want to ask you guys this question is, if you could get discipled by anyone that you actually know, like you personally know them, it doesn't mean you have to know them really, really well. It just means you have some type of decently good connection to them. Who would you want to be discipled by? Like if they were going to say yes, who would you want to be discipled by and why? And I'm going to give you about 2 minutes. I want you to talk to your neighbor. So that means one person talking to one person. So each of y'all get to share for about 1 minute each. But turn to your neighbor and share who would you want to be discipled by if they were going to say yes and why? All right, here's what I want to do is I want to cover two things. I want to cover if you know kind of an idea of who you want to get discipled by and why. And I realize that some people might, how many people is like, I don't know, just to raise their hands. How many are like, I definitely know who that is, and it'd be awesome if they said yes? Raise your hands. What is the other group? I'm trying to figure out. How many are like, I kind of have a decent, it's like a little bit of an idea. Anyone that's like, I for sure know, just raise a hand. Just trying to, would you mind sharing? Either of you two, would you mind sharing why? You'd have to speak loud if you can.
A family friend of mine.
Family friend.
Been a Christ follower his whole life and has gone through many, many trials growing up as a child. So
Yeah.
and he's got tons of stories. He was a pastor over in Africa and just has all this experience. And I'm trying to see if he wants to start a small Bible study.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's cool. That's a good way to trick them into discipleship, because then you're like, hey, I want to do this Bible study. I just can't do it without you. And then you're like, it's like it's really for you, but then you invite your friends. That's strategically right there. And are you single?
No.
Okay, he's not single. Sorry, y'all. Good. That's that. And my guy here, would you mind sharing? And if we, yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Gotta speak loud. Loud.
I'd say my dad, just because he's kind of been a big follower of mine for a while, and just kind of being able to walk through Christ with him, and it'd be a really cool journey for me to take.
Yeah.
I'll just continue
Your
to
dad.
grow my faith with him, and
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. One lady. Any ladies out there? Come on. Yeah? All right. Well, if you don't mind, stand up, and then we can hear you a little better. Thank you for being down to share. And I know I always say this is kind of like Deadpool a little bit, like breaking the fourth wall. I know it's like people don't usually talk, they just kind of do their thing. But I feel like it helps, and the early church probably had more conversation, not just me talk and y'all listen. What's your name, and yeah, who is it?
My name's Cecilia, and the person I would pick is my closest friend from college. Her name is Ruth, and she has a really crazy testimony. She's a cancer survivor,
Yeah.
But she also has had a lot of different hardships in her life. But the thing that I would pick about her, or like why I would pick her, is because her life is very different than mine, but I still feel like we have the same values, and she's just able to teach me a lot from a perspective that's different than mine.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. So if you guys are cool with it, here's what I want to share is two things. I have this like list of what I believe are like green flags and red flags. If I was older and someone younger asked me to, hey, would you pour into me? These would be like the green flags I'm looking for and the red flags. Sometimes I thought about calling them the icks of discipleship. And I want this, like, what are the things that would make it hard? I mean, how many of you guys if you go on a date, do you have a couple flags you're looking for, red flags and green flags, if we can be honest? And so in the same way, discipleship is a scary thing. So that's why I also want to go into the second thing, is how, if you know who you want to be discipled by, you feel like you're actually ready, like those green flags are there for yourself. But then you're like, is there anyone here who would be honest to say, I would be nervous to ask someone older, would they disciple me? Anyone? I think it's like an intimidating thing. You know what it's like for a guy to ask another guy? One, you girls, I think generally don't know what it's like to ask someone out and be rejected. It's so scary to be like, I never asked out a girl when I was single unless I knew like about a 93.5% chance she was going to say yes. I just do not like the odds of this being like, hey, would you want to be with me? He's like, and they always do the whole, it's not you, it's me, it's this season, it's God and I are doing this thing. And I'm like, but 2 weeks later, what about that thing when you're dating this guy? And all the things change, and it's scary to put yourself out there. But I want to then, second, is talk about how do you ask someone to disciple you with clarity and with confidence? Because joking aside, it's scary, I think, because there's very rare times when you ask if someone basically wants to commit to you in a relational way. It's not like if I ask, hey, do you guys want to go see, what's a big movie that's out right now that people are excited? What is it? Avatar. It's like, do you want to see Avatar? And you might be like, no, I'm not into the whole blue alien thing. But they'll be like, oh, it's the best movie in the world. It's like one of the biggest sellers. And you could say, well, if it's the best movie in the world, who's the main character's name? And they're like, you're right, I don't even know, because I don't think it's the best movie in the world, personally. I'm venting a little bit right now. You said Avatar, but honestly, it's just me not wanting to see Avatar. Or I'm like, yo, do you want to go to Taco Bell? Or, do you want to go to Arby's? The things people never say. But it's like, if you say, hey, do you want to go to Long John Silver? I'm like, dude, I've been looking for the people that would one day ask me. I've wondered who goes here. And if I say no, I'm not rejecting the person. I'm rejecting the restaurant. But discipleship is different. It's not, do you want to go to a movie? Do you want to go to this thing? Do you want to hang out tonight? It's like, do you want to commit? Would you commit to me? And I'll tell you on the front end, I've talked to a lot of older people, or I like to call them, because no one likes to be called old, but so you know, never called someone an older person. I call them chronologically superior people. And when I talk to chronologically superior silver saints out there, which you guys have the benefit of having in this church, sincerely, like our church at Way Church is super young, and it's the downside. It's great because for community, it's hard for discipleship because we don't have a lot of people ask. You have the benefit of asking a church full of people who have been there, like you shared, who have been through difficult times, who you could instead of hitting a wall and over and over again, you could learn from their wisdom, their insight, their blood, sweat, and tears. But I would like to help you go in with clarity and confidence. Are y'all cool if I share those two things? Great. Let's go into the red flags and the green flags of discipleship. And so I would say, so what to avoid and what to be is, if you want to be discipled, then you have to be, I would say, you cannot be flaky. You have to be faithful. And so basically, you have to keep your word. Like your yes has to be yes, and your no has to be no. It can't be, let me wait to the last second. It can't be, oh, I think I might have something else better going on. It's got to be that you actually commit and keep your word to what you're going to do. It's very hard. It doesn't matter how much they want to pour into you. It doesn't matter how much they plan a lesson. It doesn't matter how available they become to you or how vulnerable they become to you. If you don't show up when you say you're going to show up, if you don't keep your commitments, if you have a lot of zeal on the front end, but then that fizzles out about 2 or 3 weeks in or months in, it doesn't matter how available or vulnerable they are if we aren't hungry, if we aren't serious about staying in their life. And so it's really, really important to be faithful. The other one is you cannot be overextended. You've got to be available. We don't have a lot of college kids here, but I assume a lot of us are in college. Here's what I found is like a lot of college kids, this is the first time we get autonomy and get a lot of our free time when we make our decisions, especially if we move away. And most college kids, if you ask them, do you feel like you have a lot of free time? They're like, no, I don't have any time at all. But you're like, dude, are you married? Do you have kids? Do you have a dog? Do you have a cat for some reason? Like, are you so busy? And it's not because they don't have time. It's because they've committed partially to so many different things. And your life may also feel that way, where I'm like, what would you need to cut to get discipled? The next one is you have to be teachable. You cannot be prideful. I actually think that the rich young ruler, if you know this story, there's a rich young ruler who came to Jesus. Seems like he had an entourage, clearly had wealth. He even, I would say, had character. But I would say the rich young ruler could have been the 13th disciple, but he was not teachable. The Bible says that it goes to in what does it say? 2 Kings down there. Not in 2 Kings. It's in the Gospels. It says, Jesus said to him, speaking to the rich young ruler, if you would be perfect, go and sell what you possess and give it to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and come, follow me. And so one thing I want to point out about this is Jesus did not say, follow me to all the people who he encountered. He had a lot of interactions with a lot of different people. He would sometimes, after healing them or helping them, say, hey, go and sin no more. Sometimes he said, don't tell anyone about what happened here. Sometimes he said, go and tell everyone. But he didn't always say, often did not say, afterwards, come and follow me. He did say that to disciples, and in this situation, he said it here. In fact, do y'all know the story where it said legion, or all the demons were in that person, and he cast out the demons into a pig. That pig ran off the cliff, and that person actually, if you don't remember, came up to Jesus afterwards and says, can I go with you? And Jesus didn't say, come and follow me. He said, no, go home. And he said, tell them about what happened here. And so some people even wanted to follow him. But in this case, I think could have been the 13th disciple. He wanted to know about eternal life and what to do to get into heaven, but he wasn't teachable because it said that he left. The rest of the verse says, when the young man heard this, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. I remember I was discipling this, like, oh my gosh, I should have invited him. He lives here in the city. He's like, he lived in Nashville for a second. Dang, none of y'all are going to know who this is. But he's a big TikTok influencer kid. And it's so funny I'm here in this city. Okay, so I love this kid. He's like, don't we all have like that one, like, do all of us have like that one lost or barely a believer friend who's like so fun, but then I'm like, dude, will you answer your phone and dude, just, if you could just get this right, it would be amazing. Do y'all know what I'm talking about, or is that just me? It's like the person you just love. My brother Luke was like that for the longest time, where I'm like, oh, you have so much potential. And this kid was like that. He was on the front end saying he wanted to get discipled. But I remember him showing me a girl he was starting to date. He was telling me about her. It was another TikTok influencer type of chick. And I'm like, okay, he's talked for 30 minutes about her. I'm like, hey, can I see, like, what does she like? What does she look like? What's her IG? And he's like, whoa, no, you don't need to see that. And I'm like, whoa, dude, he's shifted into a different type of countenance. And I'm like, what the heck? Let me just see her IG. And he's like, well, I said she's kind of a new believer. And I'm like, what does that mean to you? And then it ended up being like, bro, these pictures, he's like, some of her pictures are a little bit revealing. And by that, he meant a lot of it revealing. And I'm like, this guy wants to be a youth pastor too. And I'm like, bro, I don't know if it's the best time to date her if she's still not a Christian yet, but she's open to the gospel. And if you're going to preach at youth ministries, these kids are going to follow you on social media. And if she's tagged in it and you won't let me look at her photos, like in her Instagram, because you're a little bit embarrassed, how much more will that maybe make young kids stumble if they go onto this page? And he just started really tuning me out. And I'll just say this, is sometimes we talk about being teachable, is sometimes we want to go to someone for advice, but we really just want them to co-sign what we want to do. It's like, this is what I want to do, and if they don't want to go that direction or co-sign that, we think something's wrong with that person, and we cut them off. Anyone see this happen in relationships? And so in this case, I would say that the rich young ruler could have had a relationship with Jesus at the next level, but he went away sorrowful. And by the way, that kid the girl wasn't even around 2-3 weeks later. We have to be teachable. The next one is you cannot be entitled, you have to be honoring. I think the secret sauce to winning over the chronologically superior generation is honor. Like sincerely, not just to fake honor or a faux honor, but to honor the generation, like for the foundation that they've built for us to go and do what we've done. Like even this building, I'm here and I'm like, if it wasn't for blood, sweat, and tears, it sounds like 100 years I've heard of saints building and praying so that we could have a space that we could gather. And at my church, we don't even have a building. Like we meet I don't even want to get into where we meet. It's just not the best space. And so last one is you cannot be lazy. You've got to be hungry. And so these are the red flags and the green flags. I think we're not all perfect. We're not going to nail it all the time. But I would say, what are the areas here where you're like, man, this would be a a red flag if I was to ask someone, based on the life I've been living, the way I've been carrying myself, if someone was wanting to pour into me, or if I did ask someone older, they might see one of these and it might be at least a yellow flag or a red flag. And that's fine, because that means there's areas where we can grow or focus and develop. And then where is it that God's blessed you at? Like, hey, I've had a conviction of being faithful, keeping my word, of I would make myself available. I would be very serious about it. Now, what do you do if you were to ask someone? Let's shift into that. If this is some things to pay attention to, what should we do? And I would say, first one is you want to share your momentum with them. And so if I found someone, I was like, I'm really got some chemistry with this person, I'm really connecting, this older guy, and I'd like to ask him to disciple me. And again, it's pretty nervous, like, yeah, we'll talk about it in a second. I would say, again, I think there's similarities sometimes to dating and discipleship in the ask. I'm not trying to be controversial. I don't think that's really controversial. Again, because it's relational. Because I am putting myself out there to be rejected. I'm putting it out there. And Christian guys let down Christian young guys, just like I feel like Christian girls let down Christian young guys. And what I mean by that is, like, I've asked guys, like, hey, I'd love to get poured into by you. I really feel like we've got a chemistry, and I'm always like, man, it's like I'm talking to a girl. Like, I really, we're vibing, man. And I've noticed like things in you, and they will be like, they always, girls, y'all will be like, it's not you, it's me. They'll be like, yeah, it's not you, it's me. I'm so busy and my family, and there's so much going on, and you're a sweet kid. I'm like, dude, why am I getting broken up with right now in this conversation? I haven't started yet. But I got discipled when I was 16 years old, right after I got saved, 2 weeks into my faith. And this guy, Kevin Batista, poured into me for 2 years, and it was like life-changing. How many of you guys got saved before the age of 18 years old? Just raise your hands. I need some interaction. Okay, keep your hands up. How many of you got discipled within a year of getting saved? Someone committed to, in a relational way, to pour into you. Very few, very few. Okay, thank you guys. I feel like so many of us get saved when we're young, but we do not get discipled when we're young. And I wish that I could say, hey, in the ideal world, like Jesus, we would be sought after, like Jesus sought after the disciples, and we are responding to discipleship, not seeking out discipleship. But here's the real reality is, I think a lot of the older generation, they didn't get discipled either. Somewhere along the way, we lost the art of discipleship. And so instead of waiting to get discipled, I would say pursue it as much as you can. Or if you guys are open to sharing, how many of you are one of the first Christians in your family? Anyone? It's a unique role and responsibility and weight, but also, would I be right to say, for those who raised your hand, whenever you are one of the first Christians, I've found often y'all feel a weight of, I want to turn and reverse things for my generation and the future generations of my family. Like, I've seen, talking to a young guy where he's like the first in his family. Even sometimes those who are the first to go to college feel this, like, I want to make it better for the generation coming after me. I could blame generations before me, or I could set up the future generation. And that's the posture I'd love us to take, is when we go in, we are like, I want to pursue it. Though I wish I was pursued, I'm going to ask others. And I think one of the best ways to start is share your momentum with them. And what I mean by that is, sometimes we could just be doing life. It's like, oh, why is no one asking me to get discipled by them? Why is no one pouring into me? Why am I not finding community at church? It's a lot of like me-centric. And I would say, like, go out there and, like, if you got a job, give your all to your job. If you, like, as in, the Bible says we are supposed to work like as if we were working unto the Lord. And so whatever you have and God has trusted you with, no matter how big or how small, like, kill it. Like, be all in. If you're volunteering at the church, which I would really encourage, like, get plugged into the church. It's a two-way street anytime we do relationships. And one of the best ways is to get plugged in the church, because you then build relationships in community and get surrounded by more of the older generation in the church. But get plugged in, like, and as you start having this fire of, like, whenever I do something, I want to do it as if I'm serving the Lord. I'm going all in. There's a type of momentum and a fire that people see of the older generation. And I would say the older generation isn't looking to start a fire. They're looking to pour gasoline on a fire. And so, like, they want to see that fire, and then they can pour that gasoline on the fire. there's this quote by Ed Cole. He's a men's ministry guy. And he said, maturity doesn't come by age. It comes by acceptance of responsibility. And so are there responsibilities that you've taken on where you could say to someone older, hey, because I always want to begin by them seeing there's stuff going on in my life and I work towards like bigger responsibilities and I'm like taking on things that I don't know if I could figure out. But what they see is, think about if you were hiring someone. If you're hiring someone, one of the biggest things you want to look for when you hire someone is, do they have a track record? Or this is, I think, a good secret to finding out, are they a good hire, is do they have a track record of promotions? Do they have a track record of, hey, you were at this job, and it seems like you kept getting raises or promotions to new titles. What that shows me is they do good work. When they work somewhere, they get risen up. I don't need to even call your references. It just shows in the fruit that there's a fire in you because anywhere you've worked, you've gotten this ability to, like, people trust you with bigger responsibilities. And if that's what you do by yourself, how much more if I was to pour some gasoline on that fire that God started within you? Does that make sense? Okay. The next one is tell them why you chose them. Specifically, this is kind of datey as well. Girls, does it not help if a guy was to ask you out and he's like, how much does it not help if the guy is like, hey, just met you somewhat recently, and he's like, we should go out. And you're like, why? I don't know, like, you're hot, I'm hot, like, let's go. Or they're like, usually if it's just surface level, I mean, sometimes that is, if you watch social media, there's some guys, that's all, they just go up to attractive people and ask them out. And it's not based on character. It's not based on, like, how would you be as a wife, as a mother, or a husband, as a father, character, any of that. But how much girls, and I need some interaction. Are you this like Baptist-y crowd? Yeah? Y'all do interaction? Or if you know comedy, they call it crowd work. I'm about to call on someone. All right, let's get some response. So y'all tell me, ladies, can y'all just say, like, yeah or something? Okay. I've never done that before. I want to know how do ladies say yeah. Can we get like a real yeah on 3? 1, 2, 3. Yeah! All right. Y'all sound so much better. Yeah, never mind. We don't even go to the guys. Ladies, all right, you said yeah. Now, tell me this. If a guy came up to you, instead of just like, hey, you're hot, or, you're cool, or just real simple, is like, hey, I've been noticing this about you, and I've been watching, and I've noticed the way you treat people. I've noticed the way, like for me, I remember one of the biggest things, the first time I met my wife, I noticed the way that she treated older people. There was this older couple just at a restaurant, and she just started talking to them and, like, honoring them, and just was talking to strangers. And it's always good to pay attention to how do they treat strangers or people that cannot benefit themselves. And I was like, that, to be able to say, we'd be like, hey, I've noticed this about you, this about you, this about you, and I'm encouraged by who you are. I want to compliment who you are. But there's, like, they've done their homework. Ladies, does that help when they ask rather than just saying, we should go out? Yeah. You could say no, too, if you want. You're like, no, I'm desperate. Whatever, I'll take whatever. This is what I would say to look at, is when you talk to them, say, hey, just like real easy script of sorts, is like, hey, I've been at this church for a while now, and I'm starting to volunteer, and I'm starting to get entrusted with this, or my job, this is, again, the momentum, that fire. I'm starting to do this, I'm starting to do that, and I've noticed you're in the same industry, or I've noticed how you're good at this, and I've seen how your family, how intentional you are with them, or I've seen how you serve at the church. I've noticed the way you pray, like you got a prayer warrior type of spirit, or whatever detail you could share. Like, I noticed how your kids, like, they're happy to see you're intentional. You whatever niche thing that shows, man, this kid isn't the typical kid. This isn't just some kid just asking out of the blue. It's like it seems like they've been prayerful about it. It seems like God's doing something something in their life. I see that fire in them. They're like done their homework on me. And so I see in you simple words as this is the things that I see in you. It might be giftings. Like I see the gifting in you, and these are areas where I need to grow to do the work that God's called me to do. Or I see the character in you that I'm trying to grow in. If I'm honest, I'm not the best at this, or it's an area God's prompted me to try to be developed in. And how much more with that intentionality of I see that in you, because it also helps them. A lot of times older people are intimidated themselves to disciple. Like I was with some business leaders in Alabama talking to them, and they're like, guys, they said, Grant, can we be honest? Like when I have a young guy come up to me, is like, will you disciple me? That word discipleship is like scary in some ways. It's intimidating. I'm almost thinking, do I need to be like this guy's spiritual dad? Like, because I got to fix his dad issues, or I got to help him get a job. I got to help him like stop looking at porn. I got to help him like figure out where he's going after college. I got to any type of emotional things he's got going on. I got to teach him the word, and I don't always feel like I'm the best teacher. Like the enemy's going after them sometimes as much as he's going after us of we're not worthy of discipleship. They're like, you don't have what it takes to disciple them. But if you could say, no, I see in you the things I'm trying to grow in, it affirms them. No, God is moving in your life in ways that I honor and I would like to learn. Does that make sense? These things really will help set you apart, because that's what I want to do is set you apart when you ask. The third one is be specific in what you want to learn from them. I would even say maybe don't use the word discipleship. I would discern that. Sometimes that word is intimidating. Maybe it's just like, hey, could I learn from you, or could we meet up a few times, or is there any way you could teach me how to do this, this, and that? So you go from here's momentum in my life. Here's how I see that you're good in those areas that I'm trying to grow. I've done my homework on you, and this is specifically what I'm trying to learn from you. So think about that guy who feels intimidated. If he had bite-sized pieces or something that's palpable, where I get often asked, hey, will you teach me how to speak? Or will you teach me how to write a book? Or things that I'm like, yeah, I do know how to do that. I'm not the best at it, but I have some philosophy of how to do it. I have some experience with that. Then you're helping them, while the enemy who often wants to make us feel disqualified to do his work, just like he is doing them, making them say, no, I can give you some pointers on what I've learned. I wish someone would have helped me like I can get the opportunity to help you. You really are giving them clarity of what you're asking them. And clarity is kind, if you've heard Brene Brown say it before. The next one is if you find someone who's doing what you want to do, that's, I think, one of the coolest places. If you're like, I'm trying to go into this industry and climb the ladder here, I want to serve the Lord in this area. You could even give some direction. This is a cheat or a hack of like, how do you practically learn how to do what someone else is doing? This doesn't always apply to everything, but let's say it's even someone at your job who you look up to. Maybe they are a Christian, and you're like, can you teach me how to do what you do? Or maybe it's you volunteering at the church, and you're like, I'd love to learn from this person, and I serve with them regularly. It's this kind of what Jesus did with the disciples, if you think about it. It's Jesus is I do, and then you watch, and then we talk. The next would be I do, you help, we talk. So that's the older person does. Now I'm helping, and then we talk about it afterwards. So you're getting really practical hands-on learning. Third is you do. This is the younger person. Like now you do, I help, we talk. Fourth is you do, I watch, we talk. So now it's like, okay, I'm going to be around, but I'm not. It's more on you. I'm trusting you. You've gone through the phases, and we talk. And then last is you do, someone else watches, and you talk. This is where you replicate discipleship. So now you could pour it into someone else. The next one is be willing to move your schedule around theirs. All right, this part is the part where I want to really help you. This one, I would say, I want to help you trick your way into getting disciples. This is sometimes if they say no, then sometimes I feel like I've tricked a couple older people into discipling me. I am excited for your trickery that you're about to pull on this homie. You guys are going to do a Bible study together, and you're the one receiving, but then you're also giving. That's a new tactic I'm going to need to add to the toolbox. But sincerely, there is a way I think you can trick people in discipling you. And here is, let me see if this goes to the right slide. Okay. Be willing to move your schedule. Let's see. Okay, so I would say mentorship is something we got to figure out. And I think that most people that are older don't disciple someone younger because they do not feel like they have time. but they're viewing discipleship as mentorship, and I think it's so important. As I think mentorship and discipleship are not the same thing. Mentorship is adding something to your calendar. I would say discipleship is including someone in your calendar. I know that might sound like a small nuance, but that's a very different function. Like, it's going to be very hard to get mentored if they're so busy. Like, think about having a family, having kids, having a full-time job. The people we want to get discipled by rarely have a lot of free time. Like, older people tonight are not thinking, man, what am I going to do with all my free time this week? And many of us aren't either. But if you are single, you tend to have more free time than the older generation. And just to get an idea of this, like, who is young adult single in this room? Like, not married right now. I would assume most of the place. Okay. How many of you guys have heard about, it's an amazing thing. It's called the gift of singleness. Have y'all heard of this? Isn't it one of our favorite gifts? Like, did anyone get the gift of singleness for Christmas this year? For me, it's not my favorite gift to unwrap. And sometimes it'd be year after year. I'm like, oh, God, thank you. Again, the gift of singleness. It's like sometimes I'd rather have Cole when I was single than the gift of singleness. But I do want to give you sincerely one thing to notice about the gift of singleness we don't always realize is when you are single, you have this window where you don't have to ask your parents for permission and you don't yet have to ask your spouse for permission. Like, you can just go and do something. Like let's say any of y'all want to go. I heard the right way to say this as a local is I'm at a hotel next to Cafe Luce. You guys know what I'm saying, the pizza place. If y'all wanted to go, like, you guys as friends, don't laugh at me, I'm Texan. You guys can talk to each other right now and say, y'all want to go to the Cafe Luce? And and you're like, yeah, let's go. You want to go get Starbucks? You want to go watch a late movie? You can just go tonight. I used to be able to do that. Now I cannot do that. If I was home, I might be with my homies and my boys and like, guys, we're gonna go see Dune, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, let's go do it. I used to be like that. Now I'm like, yeah, babe, is it cool if I go? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I do what I want. And like, it's not the same. And I don't even have kids. I can't imagine if I had kids. My mom is one of 14. Anyone got more brothers and sisters? I don't even know all my aunts and uncles. It's too hard to remember. I definitely don't know all my cousins. It's a Mexican army on that side of the family. And my brother is trying to compete with her. He's got 7 now on his 8th kid. I got none. We were trying to go to Chipotle the other day. It was so hard to get all 7 of those kids in the van at the same time. It took 30 minutes to just get in the van finally to go to Chipotle. He was tired, and he's like, Grant, you know what? Can we just stay here and cook? And I'm like, 1, this is why families cook. 2, no, I want some Latin cuisine. I want some Chipotle. And so I'm going to Chipotle. But I realized, man, you cannot just move fast. You cannot just make a decision and go. They got to get a babysitter. They got to do all this. And so are you taking advantage of the gift of singleness while it is here? Because there will be a season when it's gone. And you'll be like, man, I had so much more free time. And the enemy would love for this to not feel like a gift, to only feel like a curse. To only feel like I'm begrudging it. This is awful. I'm so tired of this. And one, we all know, I just wanted to remind you, God has a plan for your life. God does see you. This season, he is using, and there's ways to steward it even better, or there's ways to hate it, but it's not going to be probably forever. Statistically, it's not going to be probably forever. But are you tithing time to the older generation? Because you could be learning some wisdom that would set up the rest of your marriage, set up the rest of what you pour into your kids. Like, the trajectory could be totally changed by how you steward that gift of singleness. And none of us want it for Christmas next year. Amen? Okay, so let's go into, this is why I brought this up, is I said, you need to be able to move your life around their life. And so be willing to move your life around their life. And if they are busy, because they have all this stuff, and you are adding one more thing to your calendar, then discipleship is including in the calendar. So how can you trick your way? Instead of them saying, I got barely any time, maybe if you can fit here, you're saying, hey, you're busy, I'm not as busy. could I join your life? You don't need to add one more thing to your calendar. Like when I ask someone that I'm getting in the conversation, I'm like, I'm not asking for one more thing. Can I just join some of what you like to do? And what I mean by that is, we see this in the Bible. 1 Thessalonians, Paul said, because we loved you so much, we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well. It's this life on life as well. They say discipleship is caught more than it's taught. And so what I will do is I will say there's 4 areas where you can join somebody's life. When you're like, well, what do you mean by joining my life? Your personal life, that's what they like to do for fun. Their work life, sometimes it might be the kind of work that they do. I've followed many people in ministry and learned and cut my teeth by following and seeing it. It was way better than college, was joining and seeing it in real life right now. Third would be their family life. Maybe it's going to dinner with their family. I've gone on so many different things with families, and it shows me what family could look like. I didn't come from an intentional Christian family, and so to do that was huge for me. Or fourth, it could be their church life. And so, last thing and last story, I want to tell you how to trick someone into discipling you. If they are so like, I know, it's just all good. I hate it. I'm like, I know it's not you, it's me. It's not me, it's you. It's a blah, blah, blah. There was one time I asked this older guy. He was a super busy guy. He was like the architect for Walmart's, like Walmart's plural. So he's super wealthy. He helped Tim Keller on a lot of his ministry. He helped IJM with like ending human trafficking work. If you guys have only heard of the movie I Can Only Imagine or Jesus Revolution, he was the guy who found those young directors and funded them. And my point in saying this is he was a Dallas guy who was super, super busy. He had his hands in a lot of things. And so often the people we want to get discipled by don't have a lot of extra free time. And so I was like, man, I'd love to get poured into by this guy. We would speak at some of the same conferences, and we lived in the same city. So I asked him on the road once when we were at the same conference, hey, when we get back home, is there any way we can get some time together? He's like, man, I'm so busy. How about this? Email my assistant, and maybe she can get some time on the calendar. So I set up some time with him, and, it took maybe a while to get something on the calendar. Then it got rescheduled because he was busy. Then it got rescheduled. It took about 6 months to get on this guy's calendar and actually go. We went to McAllister's. I don't know if they have them here, but we went to a McAllister's. We got lunch, and I finally connected with him. We were really connecting. I thought we had a vibe and a connection. And so I asked him, hey, is there any way I can get more time with you? Would you pour into me? This is my early days. And he's like, man, I see what God's doing in your life. He's got his hand on you. Such a good kid, bro, but I don't know, man. I'm so busy. Again, I'm like, okay, again, broken up with once again. And so I go home that night. Luckily, I got his number, and I'm like, all right, he is forcing my hand. I'm going to have to trick him in discipleship. For the glory of God, I'm going to have to do it. And so I looked at, what does this guy like to do for fun? Because here's the trick, is find out, if you have that person you said you want to get discipled by, what is it that they like to do for fun? And they're like, I love doing this. If it's golfing, go golfing with them. If it's, I don't know, what's the things right now? Like if it's DIY projects, go do that. If it's sourdough bread, any ladies out here doing sourdough? If it's pickleball, there's a revival happening in pickleball. I have never been beat by so many silver saints than at pickleball. You just want to get discipled, play pickleball. They're going to crush you. Grandmas are going to crush you at pickleball. I'm sincere, like go there, but whatever they like to do, go do that thing. Get into it. Act like you're about it and sincerely learn about it and try to get into it. Because we all look for an excuse to do the things that we love to do. Like I used to be into Marvel. Y'all remember when Marvel was good? This is my last chance. They might have this good movie with Doom. And if someone want to get poured into me, he's like, hey, I love to go see Doom and the Marvel movies. I'm into it. I'll pay for the tickets, me, you. If you want to invite a friend, I'm like, I'll be kind of down. I'm like, I want to go anyway. I planned on going. You pay for the tickets for sure. Let's do it. But this is what I would say is for this guy, I looked at what does Raymond like to do for fun? He said no, he can't disciple me. He let me down easy. And I saw he liked to do this thing. I don't know why anyone likes to do this thing. I bet y'all like to do this thing, and it's like the worst place to like to do this thing. Man, it's so cold. He likes to do this thing called running. Have you heard of it? If you haven't heard of it, it is a weird thing. I hadn't found out about it until this guy. So here's what running is. You go outside early in the morning. It's like pitch black dark. It's freezing. You put on some really short shorts. And you then put on a tank top, you set your watch and you just start running. And you might be like, where do you run? Around town, around the neighborhood. But you're like, well, where are they going? Where do they end up? Just right back where they were. There's nowhere. They didn't go anywhere. It wasn't it was like they came back. In fact, you'll be right where they were if you just don't even do it. But he likes to do it. And what's great about runners is I've never met a runner that didn't post about his running. They always have to tell you if you are subscribed to their Substack of running. If you know a runner, they tell you involuntarily, like their Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is becomes their running. And so I was like, all right, this dude likes to run. They always make sure the left hand knows what the right hand is doing. And so I knew his running. In fact, I always think runners, you guys are like always going so early. You are the easiest people to kidnap. You go early in the morning when it's dark. You tell us exactly what time, because you got to brag about how early you were. Then you tell us how fast you go and the exact path that you go on. You are like, you don't want the cookies on your different websites, but you are just straight blasting your location, time, and everything. And so any runners? Can y'all point at the runners that are here? All right, what are y'all doing? Like, what are y'all? Tommy, you're a runner? Okay. Someone's trying to be prophetic right there in that moment. All right. So I texted him, Raymond, man, it was so good to get time with you. So sorry, I don't take your time lightly. I know it took a while to get time on your calendar. Thank you for pouring into me, encouraging me, getting us lunch. And man, I wish we'd get more time together, but totally understand. There is one more thing I wanted to say, is I noticed that you're into running, and it was wild. Is I'm really trying to get into running these days. Now, again, I'm lying for the gospel, by the way, to get discipled. And y'all, it's so wild is if you want to do what that people like to do, they all of a sudden are like, oh yeah, you're into that? And they like can just, they're chatterbox. All of a sudden he's like, oh, you like to run? What do you like to run? What kind of shoes? I'm Googling, I'm ChatGPT, and I'm like, how often you going? I'm like, I'm new. I'm not saying I'm a pro. I'm just trying to get into it. I'm getting serious. And I seriously say, get into it. I don't like fully lie and be down to get into it. But this guy's like, oh, if you want to run, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm like, it took 6 months to meet. What the heck? I thought you were too busy. He's like, yeah, well, if you're serious though, let's meet tomorrow at 4. And I'm like, why? Why do y'all have to do it then? This is why you post about it, because no one saw it, so you got to tell us. And so I show up 4 a.m. downtown Dallas, his like big office. And I love to say, this is my favorite story. It was so impactful. But this bro did not even show up. Didn't even show up at all. It's about 5 a.m. I'm like, are you still coming? Or something happened? Everything okay? Then after 5, I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, I don't want to be downtown Dallas at 5 a.m. anymore. So I leave. Around 7:30, 8 a.m. when godly people wake up, he texts me and said, I am so sorry. When I said 4, I should have been clear. I meant 4 p.m. And I'm like, I'm thinking, why did you say if you're so serious, then let's meet at 4? And all that to say, one, I was like, yes, I am so glad I was faithful to show up at this time. I don't always get it right, but one thing I was like, now this guy knows if you did ask me to be there at 4, I would be. And I'm wanting all of us to like set ourselves up, and it's set ourselves apart. And we don't always are going to get it right. I've definitely broken my word at times, or had to say, hey, I'm sorry, I said I could be there, X, Y, Z. But after a while, I think all these things, these red flags and green flags, can actually like help us be set apart so we can get discipled. For me, Raymond, me and him ended up running quite a bit. I started running. So it ended up being 6 a.m.s after a while. And we would run, and I would talk, and I'd ask questions, and I went through a breakup when I was with Raymond. I met my now wife when I was with Raymond. I moved to Nashville when I was with Raymond. For years, we were running in Dallas, and he got me to do one of those half marathons. It's like 23, 26 miles, one of those. Clearly, I never actually got into running that much. I walked a lot on that run. I got 600th place. They gave me a participation trophy, and he said I should hang it on my wall. I'm like, for 600th place, isn't this a participation trophy? He didn't like that. But Raymond was huge in changing my life and pouring into me. And so what I want to close with is I want to ask you, I want you to turn to your neighbor for like three-ish minutes. Is what's one area of your life that may be a red flag to someone who would consider discipling you? And then what could be a next step towards discipleship look like for you? Like, who could you take a next step? And some people say, no, I got discipled by my first guy. The next two guys I asked, they said no. And then my third guy, luckily, was like, I'd be honored to pour into you, which was like a breath of fresh air after getting rejected twice. And I want to end in prayer right here and just give you guys time to talk. Then I'd love to give you 3 minutes to talk to your neighbor and share so we can think, how could it look to not just listen to this, but like move forward. So if you guys don't mind, bow your head and pray, and then we'll talk to our neighbor. Lord, I pray for each person here. One, Holy Spirit, would you highlight someone for them to pursue, maybe even several options? Two, would you prompt that older person just to have a softness towards each person here, as they are received, just an honor that it could be on them to pour into them. I pray that it is mutually beneficial relationships, that as they pour into the individuals here, that we also get to encourage them, spur them on their faith, give new life. There's something about when generations come together, it's like we both mutually encourage each other's faith in different ways. I've seen people who are kind of starting to plateau in their faith get asked to be discipled, and all of a sudden it like brings new life, new faith, new zeal to their life because of the young person. This isn't just a taking relationship. It is mutually beneficial, God. We know that you said in the Great Commission, go and make disciples, and so we believe your last words should be our first priority. And God, would you just give favor and go ahead. Let this not feel like a burden, but a new prompting. Okay, I want to pursue someone. And for those that are looking for kind of spiritual moms and dads and big brothers and big sisters, God, would you just use discipleship as a way as an instrument to develop us in our faith and have an overflow onto our families, our future families, our people that are around us, our friends, our work. We know this is not something we're begging you to do. This is something you're already about and called us to. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. Share with your neighbor who would the answer to these two questions. I'll put this up so you can see it again.